Okay, so the next set of books that I want to show you are moving forward to the later 19th century, and this is a very nice, very kind of very elegant two-volume set. It's not been acquired as a set, it wasn't published as a set. We acquired these books when they were published. So the first book here, these are two books by Sir John Evans. So the first book here, which is unfortunately in rather poor state, this one is a book that's up for adoption. So if anyone wants to adopt this book and get it rebound, we would be very grateful for that. But this first book is The Ancient Stone Implements and The Ancient Stone Implements, Weapons and Ornaments of Great Britain by Sir John Evans. And this volume was published in 1872. The other book, also by John Evans, is an accompanying book. This one is The Ancient Bronze Implements, Weapons and Ornaments of Great Britain and Ireland. And this one was published in 1881. And as I say, according to our catalogue records, we acquired both these books when they were published. Basically, they came into our collection within the year of their publication. Now, I mentioned in the last little section that the books about the art of Pompeii had been catalogued in our collection under the section E, which is art, rather than the section CC, which is antiquities. These books also have not been published as antiquities. These books, classified as antiquities. These books are classified in our collection under the section BB, which is science and nature. So this in itself is quite interesting. This is a possible notion that by the time these books were published, the librarians here at Bromley House were looking at archaeology more as a scientific pursuit rather than an artistic pursuit, as they were with the Pompeii books. So, as I say, these books were published by Sir John Evans. Sir John Evans was born 1823, lived until 1908. He was the son of a clergyman who worked in his family's paper mill from a very young age, right through into his 60s. But he also developed an interest in geology from doing surveys for the watercourses around the paper mill, and also archaeology, numismatics, and various antiquities. He went on to be very well renowned. He was the president of many learned societies in his time, including the Society of Antiquaries, the Royal Numismatic Society, Geological Society of London, the Anthropological Institute of Great Britain and Ireland, and the British Association for the Advancement of Science, as well as being a Fellow of the Royal Society and a trustee of the British Museum. And he was knighted in 1892 for all of this work that he was doing for the furtherment of scientific pursuits. Now, when he died, most of his collection that he'd gathered was given to the Ashmolean Museum in Oxford, and most of his library went to the Bodleian Library in Oxford as well. And part of this was because these were donated after his death by his son. And his son was Sir Arthur Evans, who was, if anything, even more renowned than his father as an archaeologist, particularly for his work on revealing and interpreting the Minoan civilization in Bronze Age Crete. And he discovered the Palace of Knossos on Crete. And basically his entire career was as an archaeologist. So these books were written by Arthur Evans' father, John, and he published these two and another book that are still considered to be seminal works in the development of archaeology. So the first book he published was about numismatics. It was Coins of the Ancient Britons, which he published in 1864, which was the first attempt to classify Iron Age coinage from Britain. We don't have that volume in the library, and as far as I could see from looking through our records, I'm not sure that we ever did. Our records are very patchy though, so it's quite possible that we did have it and have subsequently withdrawn it from the collection, but certainly we don't have it now. However, following that book, which was published 1864, were these two books, the books about material culture, the finds of early Britain. And these are really very important works within the history of archaeology as a scientific discipline, because this was almost the first time that someone had attempted to make a classification, a chronology to investigate how these sorts of artifacts could be looked at and used for dating. So the books are very interesting, really quite academic, quite scientific in their descriptions, but they also include the most fantastic illustrations, which were also done by the author. I have in my past tried to do archaeological illustration of stone tools, and it's really difficult. But these are fantastic. The accuracy and the three-dimensional quality of these illustrations are really, really good. And they include things like the cross-section of the tools as well. So yeah, these are very much like modern archaeological drawings. So this is really a clear step forwards in the development of the scientific recording of archaeology. And just to show you some of the Bronze Age finds. So again, the book includes a lot of interesting description and interpretation, attempts at classification and chronology, and these wonderful illustrations of the finds. So these books are just absolutely beautiful, and as well as being very important within the development of archaeology as a science. And it's in some ways it makes me quite proud that we have these books and that we had them from the very years when they were published. And I find it very interesting that these were catalogued as science books rather than as either art books like the previous ones, or in fact as antiquities. I know there was a tendency for the notion of antiquities to be just really applied to classical antiquities, so Greek and Roman finds. And I wonder whether that was part of the thinking behind why these didn't end up in the antiquities section of our collection. But I think there is a very good argument that these are clear indications of the scientific nature of the developing archaeological profession at the time.